So for all you sports fans out there, today's your day. You're in for a nice little conversation and discussion today. I know I felt the impact of the absence of sports since COVID-19 has begun, and I'm sure all of you guys have as well.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. I begin in the name of Allah, the gracious, the most merciful. May the peace and the blessings of the Almighty Allah be with and amongst all the prophets and messengers, including the last and the beloved Muhammad and his honorable and purified progeny. Brothers and sisters, wherever you are around this world, I greet you with the Islamic and universal greeting of peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And once again, welcome to another episode of the Ghazwini Brothers Show. I would like to welcome every one of you here. Like Sayyid Muhammad Allah said, we are trying out Twitter today, so we're also live on Twitter, and hopefully we can figure out a way to also go live on YouTube by the next episode. Today we're going to be speaking about a very important topic, and that is sports, to be active. And I believe that this COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic that became a global phenomenon has literally affected the entire world in many ways. And one is, I feel that people, since they don't have to get up and go to work and be active, then they have sort of become lazy, and they've accepted the fact that, you know what, we can just stay at home, work from home, we don't have to do much, let's just relax, try to enjoy it while it lasts, while we have to go back to work. And I want to say this, that this has also affected the way they think and the way they behave, and it's also affected their emotional state of being. Because I find that a lot of them have also become lazy. A lot of people that I know that were mentally very active, as in they were always looking to read, and they were also always looking to research, and they were always looking to not waste their time. Today, it feels that because they're physically inactive, because they don't want to do much physically, it's mentally and spiritually also made them inactive as well. And I think those two things go hand in hand. If you're not going to be physically active, and you're basically not going to have motive and desire to get up every day and enjoy this day that's been given to you by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a gift for you to make the best of it, then mentally you're also going to be down. Mentally you're not going to be reaching that state that allows you to be 100% productive.
Right. Yeah, there's a staggering statistic that over 40% of the American population, adult population, is obese.
Wow.
That's over 70 million people. And that's not even factoring in childhood obesity, which is also a very, very important thing for us to talk about. So just putting that into perspective, we'll be talking about these main points today. We're going to be talking about a healthy lifestyle versus an unhealthy lifestyle. We're going to talk about the Islamic perspective on a healthy lifestyle. We'll talk about the recommended sports in Islam. We'll talk about why certain sports aren't that cool in the Muslim community or, sought after. Then we'll talk about Messi versus Ronaldo, and that's going to be a fun one. I hope the live chat will also get active in that. Let us know who they like better. We'll talk about famous Muslim athletes, and then we'll end with our favorite sports and our favorite sports teams. So
sounds fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun episode today, inshallah. Just putting that into perspective, that statistic I told you, how 70 million adult Americans are obese. Just talk about the difference between a healthy lifestyle and an unhealthy lifestyle.
Like I said, experiencing this firsthand, and I think everybody listening to this can relate, that once I personally am active, I am physically active, I feel energetic. I get up in the morning and I know that part of my day is going to contain being active, whether it's playing some sports or exercising. Then I look forward to that. I am able to enjoy that period of my day, and it re-energizes me for all the other mental activities that I do. For me personally, because most of my time is focused on mental activities, that can really be difficult for someone who is not physically active. I think I said this in other episodes or on another show, I don't really recall, but I said that you'll see a lot of academics, seminarians, a lot of professors, a lot of religious scholars, and you think that they are the ones that will solve your depression problem, they are the one that will solve your mental health issues. And that is true. For the most part, they can give you advice. For the most part, they can kind of lead the way into you believing and giving you hope in the fact that Allah or God can change our situation. But for the most part, because they are mentally active all the time, it drains them. And if they don't, here's the important phrase, if they don't get physically active, you'll find that they will also suffer from mental conditions, mental health conditions, as in, they'll also be depressed, they'll also feel lonely, they'll also go through withdrawals, they'll also get angry, and, after spending 14 years at the seminary, I think I have been able to understand the situation much better. While I was getting very close to some of my professors, I realized the ones that were active, the ones that even play sports, are the ones that are happier, are the ones that are more productive. I remember several years ago we visited one of the Grand Maraja who is well into his 90s, and in his office, and he opened the door and basically came out in exercise clothes, and he joined the meeting not even in his religious attire, saying that he just came out of he has a treadmill in the next room. He was on the treadmill and now he's joining the meeting, and since we knew him very well, he didn't feel like he needed to be in formal attire.
Right.
So and when I look at him, I feel like he's very active. He's very happy. He understands things better. Without having to mention names, one of the other maraja, we have seen on social media and on TV and different places that he's also very active. Goes mountain climbing and keeps himself healthy. And that plays an entire role on the way that we think, and the way we can process thoughts, and the way we can make better decisions. So even if you're a businessman and you're looking to, be a successful businessman, I think the best way to do that is to also be physically active.
Right.
Physical activity is proven to fight depression and give you a better mental health situation. A lot of the brothers and sisters ask, whether it's publicly or personally, or in discussions that we've had or in lectures that I've given about mental health awareness, what are some special du'as, what are some special supplications that we have to do in order to be in a better mental health situation? And to be honest with you, I think it's not all about dua. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want us, yes, we should pray to Him all the time, but He does not want us to rely on dua the entire time. I can't be sitting at home and saying, oh Allah, send in my rent or my mortgage and my car payments
or
and
that
insurance.
stimulus check that we haven't gotten yet.
Well, that one we really need to pray for.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I think that it's not always about dua. Dua will help you once you're in need of it. But if you're not active and you're asking and praying for a better mental situation, and for improvement in your mental health, to get yourself out of severe depression or minor depression, some of it goes to directly involves our personal decision making, and that is to be active. So, you know what? I feel that there is the whole COVID situation, the coronavirus, because there is so much fear in actually getting the virus. People are not talking about, the effects of what this has done onto people. But I guarantee you, once this is all over and studies are made, you will find that people have suffered from depression and will continue to suffer for some time because they were just stuck at home, not doing anything. So, right in the beginning of this discussion, I want to say the following: get yourself a bike. Get yourself some walking shoes. Go out with the family. Go to a park. Get active. Don't get depressed. Don't get yourself stuck at home.
Yeah.
If you have a gym at home, make sure you're going to that gym. Make sure you're active. If you have a basketball court at home, make sure you use it. So if you have a big home, then enjoy it. Even if you have a smaller home, if you're living in an apartment, whatever it may be, whatever the case may be. Make sure you're not inactive. You're doing something.
Yeah. I know even sleep has a lot to do with it too. Not sleeping too much. And I've noticed, like, during Ramadan, sometimes on certain days I'll sleep for, more than I should. And I wake up just feeling tired for the entire day. But I know exercising always, when I get my blood pumping, get my blood circulating, I feel awake. I feel re-energized, invigorated. So I love to exercise. I love staying active. It's hard sometimes, during Ramadan, like 3 a.m., you're watching Netflix. You have some delicious hot Cheetos in the pantry and they're just calling your name. But
by the way, they're mine. So I've realized they've gone missing.
Yeah. It's hard, We have to stay healthy, try to balance how much we eat, stuff like that. I know I recently went to Hajj this year. Alhamdulillah, I was able to complete my Hajj. And I realized that Allah wants the Muslim Ummah to be healthy, to be fit. Because Hajj to me was a mixture of spiritual fitness and physical fitness. The tawaf, when we circumambulate around the Kaaba 7 times and there's 2-3 million people doing the same thing with you, it's tough, it's really hard. And then Mina, when you're running between the two mountains, Safa and Marwa, and when you're sa'i, and when you're stoning the shaitan, and all these are physical acts, right? So that made me see, I was looking around me, I would see a lot of people very, very out of shape. They were not able to complete these duties.
Definitely.
So to me, that was like an indicator, a red flag that, hey, our ummah is out of shape. Most of these people come to Hajj, they save up all this money, but it's like if you want to run a marathon, you got to prepare for it, right?
Yeah.
You got to be healthy. So what is the Islamic perspective on our healthy lifestyle?
Yeah, definitely. You see, obviously one of the fundamental principles in Islam is that our bodies do not even belong to us.
Right.
That's a fundamental difference that we have with other perspectives that tell you basically you are free to do whatever you want with your body. We are not free as Muslims. We are not free to do whatever we wish to our bodies, and obviously nor we can take our life away. That is why one of the cardinal sins in the religion of Islam is committing suicide. Because not only you give up on the hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will change your situation, and He's capable of changing your situation. And He promises that He will change your situation. You've given up on all of that, but the Holy Quran tells us that Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We are from Allah, and to Allah we belong. And in this period, we are the guardians of our body and soul, and we must protect it, right? And part of protecting it is, the way we eat, our diet. I think it all starts at home. The meals that are being cooked at home, the restaurants that we choose to go to, how often we choose to order, fast food.
Right.
And also, to be honest with you, the Islamic centers and the Islamic organizations do play a role.
Yeah.
Let me briefly touch upon this once again. We said that in our communities, you find rice and chicken and meat and so much oil and everything is fried, but you don't ever find a salad or a healthy meal.
Right.
And that basically portrays what's going on at home.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're eating that same meal at home and in the mosque every week, that's definitely going to catch up with you. That is why everybody is now interested in this new lifestyle, the vegan lifestyle or the vegetarian lifestyle, because it creates a balance. And obviously we said then that the best way is to lead a moderate life, to have moderation in everything. But if we're eating meat every day, if we're eating fried food every day or fast food every day, or we end up going to restaurants 3-4 times a week, that is all going to catch up to us, and that will directly harm us physically and harm our well-being. That is why, starting right from the kitchen, I think we need to change some of our habits and the way we eat. Let's make sure that we're consuming a lot of vegetables, a lot of fruits. Let's try to do more seafood than ordinary red meat.
Right.
Try to use a lot of honey or whatever it is that's going to keep you healthy and give you energy without obesity. And then when you have a healthy body and you're exercising and I'll tell you one more thing. This is not directly related, but it's not also unrelated to what we're talking about. Personal hygiene also makes you feel good, makes you want to be active, makes you kind of enjoy yourself, versus when you don't take care of yourself and you don't take care of your hygiene. So, make sure that when you get up in the morning, the first thing that you do is you get into the shower, or after you exercise, you get into the shower and you feel refreshed.
Right.
That feeling lets you continue thinking and feeling fresh for many hours ahead, and that's very important. When you look at yourself, if you've got a trim, if you've fixed yourself up, if you look good, then it's an incentive. You believe in yourself. It gives you self-confidence.
Right.
But, if you've basically, since the outbreak of COVID-19 until now,
just look like a caveman,
then you definitely would look like a caveman right now. And probably your kids would be afraid of you when it gets dark at home. And I don't know what your wife's going to do, if she wakes up in the middle of the night to get a drink of water, Or it could be the other way around, It could be that, since those young women are no longer going out or taking selfies on Instagram, now they're not taking care of themselves. And
no more makeup palettes being used.
Yeah, so, those numbers have tremendously changed, which tells you that, they mostly make themselves beautiful once they're outside the house, not inside the house, which is, directly against what the teachings of Islam is, Make sure you're always looking beautiful, especially when you're at home. Anyhow, so
what about mental health, though?
Yeah, so with that said,
health?
when you're physically fit and when you physically feel good, it will automatically have an effect on your mental situation.
Right.
Believe me. But taking care of your mental health is something that is wajib. It's something that is mandatory because, that is the only way that we can be productive, that we can even pray, or we can read the Quran, or we can understand the teachings of Allah, or we can contemplate on His creation, or we can earn a halal living. You can't, without being able to think straight, you won't be able to be a good breadwinner for your household. And this is a very important topic that really needs a lot of attention. I said in one of my shows, I think it was a Sunday brunch, that let 2020, well, unfortunately 2020 is a tough year, right? But as soon as things are over and back to normal, inshallah, they're very soon for many states and many countries in Europe, make sure that you bring the right people to talk about mental health. Seminars, lectures, books.
Yeah.
Do not ignore this topic. If you take care of your community's mental health situation, you will have a better community,
right.
A more active community, a more productive community, a wealthier community, a brighter future for that community. But if you keep telling people, go do dua, go pray the night prayers, they will help you only when you're doing everything else that's necessary.
Yeah. I know the mental health system within the U.S. is already in shambles, and then to multiply that, our communities really neglect mental health issues. Sometimes people actually do need medicine. They do need to see a health professional.
And a lot of people think it's a taboo if you say, oh, I'm feeling depressed, or I have chronic depression, or I need to seek help.
Yeah.
A lot of people
it doesn't mean you're being ungrateful.
A lot of people basically still have a lot of stigma around those things, and we need to help them understand things differently.
Touching on that last thing you were talking about, how spiritual and mental health and physical health go hand in hand. I've seen people that go to the gym like every day. The guy's ripped, but can't read like 5 pages out of a Harry Potter book. So that tells me that like something's missing there.
Yeah, obviously.
Islamic perspective is just like you work out, you lift weights. Lift weights for your mind as well. Read some books. Exercise your mind.
Definitely. A lot of youth, especially a lot of young men,
right,
or young women, regardless. But more, I think. Since I've had interaction with a lot of young men who basically really focus on their exterior.
Right.
This guy is ripped. He looks good. Allah has blessed him with a really good body, and he's tall and handsome. So he keeps working out, he keeps gaining muscle. Yeah, at first glance, when the ladies look at him, obviously, they're, it's like, falling in love at first sight. But then falling out of love at first word, or first statement they say, or how they behave, or how they act.
Right.
And that is horrible, to be honest with you, because whether you're a man or woman, what's going to last, what's going to take you to the next level is really not your physical appearance. I'm not saying ignore it, but it is your mental ability to carry a conversation, to basically demonstrate that you are somebody who's aware, you're somebody who's educated, you're somebody who's intelligent. And that's going to take you, to a completely different level. That's going to be attractive. Even in a marriage, to be honest with you, or a relationship. The physical aspect obviously is good, but how long is that going to last? How long, I think intimacy will come, and I've spoken about this in many stages. One is when you are mentally stimulated by someone.
Right.
When you're emotionally and spiritually stimulated by someone. And so, all those guys that are spending, 7 hours at the gym, but they're not spending, 2 hours reading, or they're spending $700 a month on, supplements or things that are going to make them look big, or make them look better, and they're not even spending $70 on books or audio books or the likes, or subscriptions to for example, academic
magazines,
then that's a horrible route to take.
Yeah.
Similarly, for the young women who are doing the same thing, they're going out and making sure that they're buying all the things that they need in order to make themselves look better. They're getting all the filters on their phone. They're also hitting up the gym. But in the end of the day, they're not spending time. And I'm sorry to say, but you don't want to be somebody who's shallow. As a woman, you don't want to make anybody feel like they can dominate you mentally, because you've spent so much time on how you physically appear, but you haven't really spent time on how you mentally demonstrate yourself.
Yeah, this reminds me of Socrates. So not the Greek philosopher, but there was a Brazilian soccer legend named Socrates. He actually had a PhD. He was a medical doctor.
Really?
Yeah. And
never heard of this.
Yeah, he played in the World Cup. He was a legend, when it came to soccer. And after his soccer career, and even sometimes in between, he would go practice his job as a physician.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's
incredible.
That's like, to me, peak performance when
compatibility of the mind and the body.
Right, he's completely in sync. His mind is at tip-top shape, and so is his body.
Yeah, but also look at our imams. They are the best example.
Right.
A man like Amir al-Mu'mineen.
Right.
Look how obviously the whole Muslim and non-Muslim community knows of how strong Imam Ali was, how fit he was, how capable he was.
Right.
And mentally, obviously, just read Nahj al-Balagha. That's outlived him by 1,400 years now, and it is a book that is so fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
That is so, if you read the small sermons or the longer sermons or the anecdotes or whatever you find in Nahj al-Balagha, it's a school by itself. I think every sentence in Nahj al-Balagha will teach you so much that it is unbelievably incredible.
Yeah. Talking about sports, I know a lot of people ask, they want to get involved in sports, they want to pick up a sport, but they always want to ask what sports are recommended in Islam. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the sports recommended by Islam and literal hadith by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is swimming, archery, and horseback riding.
Nice.
And those are the recommended sports in Islam. Now let me kind of spend a little bit of time talking about this, and I think this hadith specifically needs a whole episode.
Right.
And you'll realize why. Because do we take those hadith as literal?
Mm-hmm.
Do we say, until the end of time, the recommended sports by the religion of Islam, by the Prophet Muhammad, are the following three: archery, horseback riding, and swimming.
Yeah.
Or do we say, since they were the main sports then, they were what people needed then that is why the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said to teach your children those three sports, to be active on those three sports.
Mm-hmm.
So there's two ways to look at this. One is, a different understanding of scholars that says, if the Prophet was saying to people, eat, for example, dates, or don't eat a lot of, for example, lemons, or the imams, or for example, eat lentils and don't eat this, or those were directions that belong to that specific time.
Right.
Because, for example, not drinking a lot of water.
Right.
It's we have hadiths that say don't drink a lot of water at night. And the reason is because the bathrooms, obviously, they didn't have bathrooms in their rooms or next to their rooms. They had to walk a long distance to get to a bathroom. And, that then would have had a lot of tremendous damage on their kidneys and on their health.
Right.
Not being able to wake up, 12 hours not being able to go to the bathroom, right?
Right.
So cutting down on water was the thing then.
Mm-hmm.
But should we continue to cut down on water at night or not? There's two different takes on this. And you can't right off the bat say, no, those hadiths belong to then and they don't belong to now. So this is a more complex discussion. So the same thing applies to now.
Right.
Were those sports confined to that specific period, limited to that specific period, or do they continue to play a role today? My understanding is they will continue, and they continue. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because swimming is a sport that is going to keep your entire body active. Being around water is something that makes us feel better.
Right.
Makes us feel fresh.
It's a survival skill too.
It's a survival skill.
You gotta
that is
learn
very
how to-
important. So people
Can't
that
swim, you'll drown.
people that don't have swimming pools at home don't think you don't need to teach your kids.
Yeah.
I know of many stories of kids who went to a neighbor's home or a
Right.
friend's home or a grandparent's home, and unfortunately they drowned and died, or
Yeah.
even adults.
Right.
So that is something very important. Now, when it comes to archery, a lot of people think this is old and is useless. But
Right.
before you say that, I think we should give it a shot. We should see how it feels. Study it, think about it before you completely put it off the shelf. And third is horseback riding. We have many hadiths that say, for example, from Imam Ali, that if you spend time training yourself with your horse, then that is not considered a waste of time. Every other la'ab, every other type of gaming and playing is bad, except if you are training your horse and training yourself with your horse. And I think that for people who understand horses and are familiar with the world of horses, you will realize that horseback riding is the greatest therapy.
Right.
You look it up. There's people with mental conditions, with mental health conditions. There's people who are suffering from depression that after spending 1 hour with horses will feel better. After spending one single hour with horses, they will automatically start feeling better.
Yeah.
So I feel that those three sports, to sum it up, that are recommended by Islam, create a balance within us, both physically and mentally. So they will spiritually make us feel better, mentally they'll make us feel better, and they'll physically will keep us fit as well. This is my take on those sports that are recommended by the religion of Islam. But to say that those are some specifics, and generally Islam is a religion that desires for the believers to be active. So if you can't do those three, if it's not possible for you to do that, don't say I'm not going to be active altogether.
Yeah.
Any sort of physical activity that's going to make you feel better is recommended by the religion of Islam.
Yeah, those are obviously three survival skills they had to know at the time. Archery to defend themselves, to hunt, to keep themselves fed, horseback riding to just commute from place to place, and swimming, obviously, that's a survival skill. I never really see these sports like when I go to the Islamic centers or I see in the community, there's always, basketball tournaments, soccer tournaments that are being done in our masajid, in our community centers, or, youth associations. I never see like a Muslim youth swim team or a Muslim archery team or a Muslim equestrian team, horseback riding team. Why do you think it is that we've just kind of neglected those sports within?
And I think that's very unfortunate, to be honest with you. I think that, instead of, first and foremost starting off with a volleyball and soccer or football, I think our mosques should have definitely focused on those three sports.
Right.
We would have seen tremendous results, amazing results. That's why you see that the most prestigious schools around the world have equestrian teams, have swimming teams.
Right.
And there is a reason behind that. You said that they needed this to commute, but horseback riding is a sport or is an activity that stimulates your mind every single second. Why? Because you're dealing with a live animal.
Right.
You can't go ride a cow or a sheep. You can't ride a dinosaur. The only animal that you can majestically ride,
unfortunately,
and enjoy, is the horse.
Yeah.
And this
Camel.
horse or camels, but obviously it's a much different experience.
Right.
But this horse is this very strong animal, and very smart at the same time.
Right.
And you have to basically think every moment of that ride of, the decisions that you're going to make, how you're going to behave around this animal. So you essentially become a team.
Right.
With another live animal. So compare a horse to a football, a basketball.
Yeah.
Or for example, any other sport
which are not alive. They're
so
inorganic.
I think it's something that keeps your mind stimulated, and that is the most important thing, and that is why the religion of Islam has recommended that. So why is it forgotten? I think it's because lack of space. People are not aware of those things. People think that those sports are very expensive sometimes, and that is not the case. And I feel that inshallah, I know that some communities like Zaytuna College and some Islamic colleges and some Islamic communities have already, like, they have barns or they have facilities, remote facilities out in the suburbs that they go, like, for example, 10, 20, 30 people in the community end up buying a farm, and they go out there and they enjoy the nature, and they go on trail rides, and they really, they will tell you that they are the happiest people. They're always happy and enjoying life.
Yeah.
So, and then there you can play volleyball and soccer and all that other stuff as well. Or some of them have, the facilities they have built it to suit. So there are swimming pools there.
Yeah.
There's gyms there. So there's, a day for men, a day for women, or half a day for men. The mornings are usually for the women, the sisters who, and many places don't have the ability to go to gyms because they're mixed. So that our community makes it possible for them and encourages them, and I think that's very important.
Yeah, we need to, that goes hand in hand, just like you said. I think if we focus on projects like building a gym within the masjid, instead of focusing on just eating at the masjid, that would also instill when you're young that you should be active and things like that. It shouldn't just be a place where you eat mendi, nahari, qima.
Yeah, it should be a reflection of how Hajj is, right? So every mosque should reflect what's going on in Masjid al-Haram.
Right.
And there, like you said, there isn't going to be any, nahari or qima or chalo kebab. It's going to be, you have to be active.
Yeah. After your tawaf, you could go eat some mendi, but it might slow you down. Let's talk about our favorite athletes, and not just our favorite athletes, but famous sports athletes that have had an impact, Muslim athletes that have had an impact on Islam and our youth. I'd like to start off by talking about my favorite, which is Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay, which became Muhammad Ali. He became Muslim, and he's the world heavyweight champ. Muhammad Ali stands out to me because I like boxing, I partake in boxing, I train in martial arts, and Muhammad Ali was a warrior within the ring and outside of the ring as well. He sacrificed 6 years of his prime in his career because the boxing commission took his license away because he was defying the draft of the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
He stood up and said, I don't think this war is just. I'm not going to go kill these people across the world when my government at home doesn't even fight for my rights as a colored person. So that, to me, speaks volumes on what a Muslim athlete has to instill in our youth. It's not just all about being good at your sport, but use your platform to also speak to others. And then there's also Ibtihaj Muhammad. Ibtihaj Muhammad is a Muslim Olympian, the first Muslim female Olympian to wear a hijab and play her.
She's definitely made all Muslims around the world very proud.
Yeah.
Because she was able to be brave enough to represent Islam wearing a hijab.
Right.
In the Olympics. So that tells you a lot. I know that a lot of Iranian sportsmen and women are also, for the women that are taking part in the Olympics. She represents the United States.
Yeah.
There are other Muslim women that represent their countries, and they also wear the hijab, and I think it's wonderful. Because this tells you that hijab does not limit women, and
Right.
they can literally achieve whatever they desire to achieve.
Mhm.
And there's two types of sportsmen. There's one that is sportsmen in the way they behave and
Right.
on the field.
Yeah.
So, on the field, how are do they have morals? Do they have ethics? After it, and today things have changed. With Instagram, you know how people behave, and you know how
Right.
people act, and how they want to portray themselves.
Mhm.
And you realize that some of them are very shallow.
Right.
They're just gonna be kicking the ball around in the field. That's what they're
Yeah.
good at, or basketball or baseball, whatever it may be. But as individuals, they're very shallow. The things they say, the way they behave. To them, life is whatever is in the exterior, the car
Right.
they drive, the clothes they wear, but nothing else. Literally nothing else matters to them. They are selfish, and all they care about is just, their cars and millions and their fame and popularity. And nobody else and nothing else.
Right.
But then there are other sportsmen who, no, they're not like that. They basically are very humanitarian.
Mhm.
They're very humble. I have not. I mean, this person was not in my era. It was not in my time. But there was a wrestler in Iran who was very famous by the name of Takhti.
Mhm.
And they speak of this man, and I mean the stories I've read about him, because there's many famous boulevards in Iran and different places that are named after him. And they say, this person would sometimes, he was the greatest of champions,
Mhm.
but sometimes, in one specific story that I've read, is that he lost to a man because he wanted to give him confidence, because nobody believed in him, because he didn't believe in himself, and he wanted to champion this man.
Right.
For reasons, it's a long story, but that's a champion to me.
Yeah.
A person like Muhammad Ali, like you said, that's a champion to me. If he finds that sport was a mean, but it's not a goal, a mean for him to get his voice heard, for him to fight injustice,
Right.
then that to me is something beautiful. That's sportsman-like. Some sportsmen in America, I think, have that. They're more in tune with helping others, and they're more humanitarian.
Right.
I think others, some of them are just beasts.
Yeah. Literal beasts.
Literally.
Yeah. Just talking about Ibtihaj Muhammad, she was the first person that was able to get a Nike hijab. That if it wasn't for Ibtihaj Muhammad, our sisters wouldn't be able to have that Nike hijab,
Yeah.
I think. And she's a fencer, that's a tough sport.
Yeah.
Right now, the most famous Muslim athlete is probably Muhammad Salah, the soccer player. I'm sure you know him, heard about him.
Second is Jawad Qazwini.
Yeah. So Muhammad Salah started with a humble beginning, in Egypt, and now he plays in the Premier League in Liverpool. He was named in the Times Top 100, and he placed fourth behind Ronaldo and Messi in the greatest, soccer players list. So I think Messi was number one, Ronaldo was number two, number three was Virgil van Dijk, and then Muhammad Salah. So what are your thoughts when it comes to the whole Ronaldo-Messi debate? And I hope our live chat will also tell us are they Team Ronaldo, or are they Team Messi? But I want to ask you.
Or Team Jawad Qazwini.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, you guys haven't seen me play. I mean, you have, but the viewers have.
We might need to get a video.
Yeah, we will. We will pretty soon.
A highlight reel.
To be honest with you, I'm not really too much into watching sports on TV and keeping up with them. I have to admit that I really don't have time.
Mm-hmm.
However, I was always a Ronaldo fan.
Right.
I don't know. I just connected him. I connected with him better. I felt like he was a better player. He was, he had a different technique. I mean, they're both legends. That's for sure. I'm not
Right.
going to undermine their ability and what they have given to the sport. They are both amazing players, and in some games they have done literally things that only a superhero can do.
Right.
That I'm not going to doubt that. They can single-handedly bring a win.
Right.
So that is not something we're going to deny. But I was a Ronaldo fan for the most part until the Iran, in the World Cup when they played against Portugal. Played against, and I found that he was being very silly. He was doing things that are unsportslike. Just throwing himself on the floor, acting like he was hurt. He got that penalty, and it was totally uncalled for. But
bogus. That's why we have VAR now.
Yeah.
So
anyways, but at the end of the day, I think. What's your take? Why don't you let us know what you think?
Well, I mean, statistically speaking, I think Messi right now. I don't know if he's better than Ronaldo, but I know in a season or two, statistically, he'll be better.
He'll be better?
Yeah, he will. He'll beat him statistically. The amount of goals, the amount of Champions League wins, golden balls, golden boots, just accolades in general. And Ronaldo's obviously been in the game longer. He's had a longer career. So once Messi overlaps him, that'll tell you.
Yeah.
But just watching them, entertainment. I like Ronaldo better. I think he has a better flair. His style is a lot better. I'm a Manchester United fan, so he gave me some of the greatest memories I've ever experienced.
And the worst memories.
The worst memories, sadly. But I like Ronaldo better just because I mean, it's not statistically speaking. That's just my my preference when it comes to entertainment.
You didn't have to agree with me, man.
No, I don't agree with you. I think Ronaldo's better.
That's what I said too.
Oh, really? Well, I thought you said Messi's better because Ronaldo
didn't.
is a bad sportsman.
No, I didn't say Messi. I said I was always,
Okay.
I was more a fan of Ronaldo until that game.
I
don't like.
Yeah, I think Messi is the better player. Like, that's it. He's the better player. He's the greatest player of all time. I'll go as far as saying that, but I just like Ronaldo better.
That sounds about accurate. But I want to say this, that a lot of people idolize those people.
Millions.
They literally worship them.
Yeah.
They will literally worship them, and they will idolize them, and they will go far and beyond. And I know family members that have stopped talking to each other and stopped going to each other's homes because of this whole thing.
I've heard
that is
a lot
horrible.
of people kill each other over Madrid versus Barcelona.
Really?
Yeah, they get in beefs and
wow.
So
well, I mean, if that's the case, then that's horrible. Then you should not even be watching the sport. You should not even be following those people. And if you're going to copy in everything they do, like if Ronaldo has this new hairstyle, then everybody wants to have it. If he's wearing this new shoe, then everybody wants to wear it. Then you don't have to copy this person in the way that they behave, in the way that they dress. Copy them in their ability to be focused.
Yeah.
You think it's just by chance that those people made it there? Absolutely not. I mean, those people are working day and night, and they're working so hard to achieve those goals. And I think, to me, that's the beautiful part of it. That's what that's the incentive that I get from watching those people or getting to know their lives. Or
motivates you.
Yeah, it motivates me. It motivates me to know that there are such people out there that are working so hard, and what's the difference between me and them? If I try, my goals may be different, but I can also get to them.
Right. What's your favorite sport? Talking about sports.
Well, when it comes to the World Cup, I definitely I watch almost every game.
Okay.
But other than that, I don't really keep up with football or soccer.
Okay.
Football.
What about
everywhere
your
in the world,
favorite sport to partake in? Like
to partake in, well, I do horseback riding.
Okay.
Regularly. And
Right on.
You know that.
Yeah.
So
Just for the audience,
it's something that we'll share with the audience in detail another time. But I think that it's something that I have a passion for,
Mm-hmm.
and it's something that I feel is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I also enjoy just biking. I also enjoy hiking, swimming. I like to be active.
Right.
Mostly.
I'd have to say favorite sport to watch, basketball, and right now I'll take any sport. I'll watch baseball right now. Although I'm a big baseball fan, I like the World Series. I love watching the World Series. I'm a big Dodgers fan. Favorite sport to partake in has got to be kickboxing, Muay Thai. Although I want to point this out for the audience, I limit sparring. So the combat that I'm in, I try to limit that. I do my training, I do my sparring, but I try to limit that because I don't want to end up with CTE. There's brain damage that you can get. So I'm not looking to compete. I'm just looking to be able to physically fit, defend myself, stuff like that. But favorite sports teams, I love Manchester United. I'm a Lakers fan and a Dodgers fan. I spent some of my life in LA. You grew up in LA. We're big Lakers fans. So how'd you feel when you heard about...
Yeah, I remember I had this Lakers jacket.
Yeah.
And someone gifted it to me. I really like that jacket. I don't know what happened to it.
I think it's at our uncle's house in LA.
Really?
It's like a Letterman.
Yeah.
It has these buttons and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is?
It's in LA, yeah.
Okay, we gotta go get it after the coronavirus.
Yeah.
So, Kobe was unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but in the same time, I feel that it was a big wake-up call for everybody that, look, today... It doesn't matter if you have millions or billions. There was a Portuguese billionaire who died, and his daughter wrote a tweet, I think, saying that.
He died from COVID, right?
COVID, yeah. That my dad had all this money and all those employees and all those maids and workers, but he died all alone, and his money did not help him. Nothing came to his rescue. He died all alone by himself. And I'm sure Kobe that day never would have thought that this was going to be his last day.
Right.
So this tells us that we have to always be ready.
Yeah.
We have to be always aware that, to basically learn from whatever is happening around us, not to be arrogant.
Right.
Today, this morning, I was thinking that really life is not worth it. Don't take advantage of people. Do not hurt people. Do not destroy lives, because life is too short. And the worst type of regret is regret that you won't be able to go and say that you're sorry to this person, or ask for the forgiveness, or amend a relationship with them, or just to let them know that at that time when this and this happened, you didn't mean it, or for example, was a mistake on your behalf, or whatever it may be. That's a lesson I took from that incident.
Right. Yeah, I definitely feel like he's a shaheed. But I was devastated. It happened on my birthday, and my friends texted me. I thought they were like messing with me. I was like, nah, Kobe wouldn't die. And then I saw it, and I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. And his daughter died too. It was so sad. But like, not all of us can say, oh, we'll leave as much behind as Kobe did.
Yeah, definitely. He had a legacy.
Yeah, so just talking about that, we should all learn from...
By the way, we have like 5 more minutes, so maybe we should start wrapping up and take some of the questions.
Yeah, let's ask the live chat. Does anyone have any questions for us?
So was there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
I think that's it. So we wrapped it up. We talked about almost everything. There's one question
that some people were kind of joking around about, and others were serious about, and I think I want to take this question.
Right.
Somebody jokingly said, my uncle watches women's beach volleyball. Can I watch with him? I think this person was joking. I thought it was humorous, so I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Other people have also asked similar things. My wife watches So
Beach volleyball.
obviously that's not allowed. But there's the wrestling, the women wrestling and the men wrestling.
Right.
And honestly, to be honest with you, I feel like it's besides the fact whether it's halal or haram, I think it's kind of disgusting, to be honest with you. For a woman to be watching that and for men to be watching that, if it is something that is lustful.
Mm-hmm.
If, for example, I mean, I don't know the amount of clothing that those people have on, but if it's not appropriate, then it is haram. It is haram, and it should be avoided.
Yeah.
By individuals. So not everything on TV, when it's named sports, then it's sports, we can watch it.
Right.
That's not the case.
Right.
And I think people are very aware on.
Let's just use our common sense. Someone asked, "Are these recommended sports okay for women as well?"
Yeah. So the same thing would the same answer that I gave in the middle of my talk about how you perceive those hadiths. Are they confined to that specific time, or do they apply for all times? That one thing I know for sure is today you have very comfortable saddles. You have. Was that just specifically about horseback riding?
Yeah, the sister asked, is horseback riding also recommended for women as well?
So something like I said, some scholars, due to that kind of hadith, say that it is not recommended. Nobody says it's haram. But others say that there's obviously no difference between horseback riding or biking, and today situations have changed.
Mm-hmm.
You have much comfortable saddles, and the role of women have changed.
Right.
Back then, maybe it was a taboo for a woman to, I would say it would be like, if a woman was sitting on a bike today, not like a motorcycle,
right?
Like a Harley Davidson and going around, it would kind of be a taboo. Well, for not in America, but for many parts of the world. Cultures are different. So that's a much complex discussion, but I would say there are two takes on it. One is that it should be all the same because today the sport has changed and it has evolved, and the saddles are now very fit to to suit your needs.
Right.
Versus back then that was not the case.
Yeah.
Or some people would tell you that it's for unmarried women, it's still something that they should avoid.
Right.
I have seen a variety of opinions.
Right. It's just case by case basis then.
No. It's just I think that either it's some people will tell you this was limited to that time, so it's it's open to everybody now.
Okay.
The second opinion is they tell you that it is not limited to that time, so it's unrecommended for women. And third opinion is the one that says it is unrecommended only for unmarried women.
Right. Okay. Got it. Is there any other questions that the live chat has for us? We'll be
there's one
it up.
more, and I think we'll end because I think there's other live chats that people want to join and enjoy, and some people are probably trying to rest if there are no questions. I'll say this one. People were asking about martial arts,
right? Combat sports,
combat sports, and I feel that they come with a lifestyle that it's a lifestyle that can be dangerous. It's a lifestyle that can be a little wild. You can really hurt yourself and damage yourself, and I think the surroundings of it, the kind of lifestyle that surrounds that is also corrupt for the most part. So I think it's very easy for people to determine what is halal, what is haram, what is good, what is bad, and you don't really need specific people to come and tell you that.
Right.
The sport by itself, in order for you to just learn it and to be able to defend yourself, then that's beautiful. There's nothing wrong with
right.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, certain sports, I know football, like American football, there's a high level of CTE, which is a form of brain damage.
Yeah.
You see some players end up committing suicide, doing bad things, like Aaron Hernandez. I'm sure everyone's heard of Aaron Hernandez. So after he died, they basically did an autopsy on his brain, and they said He was like 20 something.
Wow.
They did an autopsy on his brain and said from the amount of brain damage he had, it was the brain of like a 65-year-old.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, I mean, I train martial arts. I just don't compete. That way I don't get brain damage or any CTE or anything. I want to keep this in shape. So I think with that we will conclude.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for showing support. I hope you guys all enjoyed it, and please keep us in your dua and prayer, and follow up with us. Follow us on our YouTube channel. That way we can live stream on YouTube, and give us your feedback on the comment sections.
Thank you, brothers and sisters. May Allah bless you, inshallah. And we will meet not tomorrow, but the day after. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.